All right, welcome back to our explainer on audit and regulatory compliance. So in Module 1, we really dug into the why of auditing. Now in Module 2, we're going to shift gears and get into the how. We're talking about how a really solid audit program is managed and who exactly is responsible for what.
So here's what we've got on the docket. We're going to start with the big picture, the master plan itself. Then we'll see how risk is the driving force behind the whole schedule. After that, we'll meet the people involved, the key players, and get really clear on their specific jobs. And finally, we'll unpack what it really takes to be a great auditor, their DNA.
First up, the audit master plan. Look, to build any kind of effective program, you have to start with a solid blueprint. And a huge part of that is understanding the difference between the overall program and a single audit. They sound kind of the same, but trust me, they are worlds apart.
Here's the easiest way to think about it. The audit program, that's the entire season schedule for the whole year. The audit, that's just one single game on one specific day. It's management's job to put that whole master schedule together.
And building that schedule, that program, means a few key things. You've got to set really clear goals. You have to put your money where your mouth is and allocate resources for things like travel and training. And maybe most importantly, you have to write the official rulebook, the standard operating procedure or SOP that spells out exactly how every single audit is going to be run.
Okay, so you've got a plan, but how do you decide what to audit and when? I mean, you can't audit everything all the time. In the modern pharmaceutical world, the answer is simple. It is all about risk. We just don't audit every area with the same frequency because, let's be honest, the stakes are wildly different from one place to the next.
And let's be crystal clear about why this matters so much. When you're talking about a place like a sterile manufacturing facility, a mistake isn't just some note on a compliance report. A failure there can have absolutely fatal consequences. That is why the entire audit schedule is directly tied to risk.
This table just lays out the strategy perfectly. You can see that high-risk areas, like aseptic filling, are put under the microscope every 6 months, no exceptions. But then you look at lower-risk areas, say the cafeteria, and you might only check in on them every couple of years. It just makes sense.
So we have our blueprint and our risk-based schedule. But who are the people that actually make all this happen? Let's meet the key players, because you have to remember, a successful audit is never a one-person show. It is absolutely a team effort that relies on a handful of very distinct roles working together.
You can really break it down into these 4 core groups. You've got the lead auditor, the auditors on that team, the auditee, that's who's being examined, and of course the client or the senior management who kicked off the audit in the first place. Every single one has a critical part to play. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit and get really specific about who does what, because when you're in the middle of an audit, there can be zero confusion about responsibilities. That kind of clarity, it's totally non-negotiable if you want things to go smoothly.
So, at the very top, you have the lead auditor. Think of them as the team captain. At the end of the day, the success or failure of the entire audit rests on their shoulders. And just like a captain, they're picking the players, making sure they have the right experts, like bringing in a microbiologist for a sterile facility audit. They're calling the plays by creating the audit plan. And when it's all said and done, they make the final call on how serious any findings are.
Next up, you've got the auditors. These are the folks on the ground, the team members who are actually executing the plan. They're the investigators.
Their job is to be incredibly meticulous. They're gathering hard, objective evidence. They're documenting everything with precision. Not just something's wrong, but expired media was found in incubator number 2. And through it all, they have to stay completely impartial and independent.
And then, of course, there's the auditee. This is the department, the facility, maybe even an outside vendor, whoever is being examined. Their role is basically to be a transparent and cooperative host. That means providing access, making sure the auditors are safe, and, most importantly, owning the outcome. When problems are found, it's on them to create that corrective and preventive action plan, the CAPA, to fix it. So we've laid out what everyone is supposed to do. But this brings up a really interesting question. What kind of person makes a good auditor? It is definitely not a job for just anyone. So what's in the DNA of someone who's effective at asking those tough questions? Well, it's a mix of formal qualifications and some very specific personal traits. And this progression here just lays it out perfectly. It all starts with a solid educational foundation, a degree in a relevant science. From there, you add specialized training and certification.
And then you solidify all of it with actual, real-world, hands-on experience under supervision.
But it's not all about what's on paper. Beyond the resume, an auditor needs these core attributes. You have to be diplomatic when you're delivering bad news. You have to be incredibly sharp-eyed. You've got to be resilient when things get tense. And you have to be decisive, making clear judgments based on logic and evidence.
Okay, so let's put you in the hot seat for a second. Imagine this. You've got the skills, you're auditing a warehouse, and you find a major problem. But when you bring it up, the manager gets furious and refuses to even acknowledge it. What do you do?
The answer, it goes right back to those core principles of the job. You have to rely on those personal attributes. You stay resilient, you stay diplomatic, but you stick to the objective facts that you've documented. The evidence is your anchor. And if you have to, you simply document their refusal to accept the finding.
And this really brings us to the biggest takeaway of all. An audit is not a one-way street. It can fall apart if the auditor is weak, and it can fall apart if the auditee is uncooperative. The whole process, from start to finish, hinges on mutual professional respect. That respect is what turns an audit from a simple inspection into a genuine opportunity to make things better.